Welcome, Hudson Valley, to this week's edition of In Touch, the public affairs and issues program that runs across Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley radio stations. Today's guest is Jennifer Brody, director of the APA-Accredited Doctoral Internship at Astor Services. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Jennifer and I talk about the highly acclaimed internship program she runs at Astor Services, the incredible counseling programs that Astor Services offers its clients, the recent changes to their programs since their rebranding, their special events such as Dine Out for Mental Health happening all of May, and more. It's a jam-packed episode, but it's filled with a lot of energy and light. We invite you to join us and listen to a previously recorded conversation between Jennifer and myself here on In Touch. We here at In Touch are all about, being in touch with what's going on in the Hudson Valley. What better way to stay in touch with what's going on than by downloading the Townsquare Media mobile app for this radio station? Not only can you listen to this station live at any time by using the app, but you can also listen to In Touch on demand. Besides In Touch, you can read daily articles about news, events, entertainment, and more that's going on in your community. And when the weather gets bad, you can use the app to check on weather reports to see which schools and organizations are closed. Your Townsquare Media app is also the best place for concert and event tickets. We are constantly giving away tickets to the hottest shows in the area. Again, you'll have access to all of this if you just download the Townsquare Media mobile app for this radio station. In Touch is nothing without the support from the hundreds of listeners we get on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for listening and taking part in the conversation. If you listen to In Touch through a podcast service such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please consider leaving a positive review. With more 5-star reviews on these platforms, the algorithms will work harder to promote our show and bring In Touch to new audiences. That and also sharing In Touch with your friends and family is so important. Just sharing our links and listening live each Sunday goes such a long way. Thank you for all that you do to stay in touch with what's going on in the Hudson Valley. Hello, Hudson Valley. You're listening to another episode of In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's public affairs and issues program. We have a great episode for you today and the first official episode of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And actually, May is an incredible month. It has a lot of awesome things, and we have some really special episodes all lined up for this month, and I'm really excited to get May started off with this. From Astor Services today, we have Jennifer Brody, director of APA-Accredited Doctoral Psychology Internship, here to talk about the number of things that Astor Services is doing for Mental Health Awareness Month. And specifically, I love what she's bringing to the table today, her seeds of growth, and I'm really excited to get into all that. And I know you guys can't see it, but she has this lovely artistic background. It's like a tree, it's like a circle tree in so many colors. It's vibrant, it's lovely, and it's just the perfect way to get this interview going. So, Jennifer, welcome to In Touch.
Thank you very much, Connor. Very nice to be here.
Yes, it's an absolute pleasure. So, though this is your first time on In Touch, this is not Astor's first time. We've actually had Astor on in the past, and it's always great to be able to talk with you guys because I feel like we get a different perspective each time and learn new things about the program and what's going on. And May, as I said, is a very terrific time, Mental Health Awareness Month. So I feel there's so many things to dive into. First and foremost, though, could you give just a quick overview on just what Astor is for somebody who's tuning in right now who may not be familiar?
Sure, absolutely. So Astor Services provides counseling services primarily, but we also do all kinds of wonderful mental health services across a very wide continuum of care. We have partial hospitalization programs, and we have day treatment programs, and we have school-based services and outpatient services, and we have home-based services and care management as well, which is another word for case management. We pretty much treat humans of all ages and stages from childhood up through, however age we need to work. And we get to do all kinds of supportive counseling kinds of services for mental health.
No, that's terrific. I really love all the things that you guys have going on. I think it's a great service to have in the community. With your position, it's a heck of a position to all lay out. So if you wouldn't mind, could you just give us a little background on what it's like being the director of APA-Accredited Doctoral Psychology Internship?
Sure, absolutely. So I had the wonderful experience of being able to train at Astor 23 years ago in the year 2000, which feels like so many miles away now, many. I was able to do that under the supervision of wonderful psychologists. And one of those psychologists was getting ready to retire. And she called me up and said, would I like to come and take her training spot and train future psychologists. So our internship has been around for almost the whole 70 years that Astor has been. The internship started about 12 years into our agency, and it's been a wonderful program, and future psychologists come to train from all over the country and U.S. territories, including Puerto Rico. We actually have had many interns over the last several years from Puerto Rico, which is wonderful. It's just a wonderful thing to be able to do. We have 5 interns every year that come for a whole year to train with us. 2 of them are up here in the upper mid Hudson Valley, and 3 of them are in the Bronx.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
Because yes, Astor spreads across both of those regions very solidly because our origins are within the residence that we had started, which is in Rhinebeck in 1953. We had started that in order to help children not have to be institutionalized in hospitals. It was a more home-like environment to do residential treatment and be able to do a variety of things with them, like recreation therapy as well. And it was a wonderful thing. But the 3 boys that we started with all those years ago were from the Bronx. So when it was time for them to be discharged and go back to their communities, we also needed community services to sort of wrap around them in the Bronx. And so that's why Astor has this huge footprint across, the Hudson Valley and down into Bronx County, in order to be able to serve the needs of children and now families and now also older adults. We've done this whole wonderful age expansion to be able to just, spread across the whole lifespan now. And so the internship also spreads across that as well.
That's terrific. To be able to have such a large footprint in this area and to be offering things along those lines, especially 70 years ago when everything started, the way that mental health was viewed was, this might sound a little harsh, but barbaric in a way, the way that things were looked upon. It wasn't looked upon with as much care as it is today, and even still, there's a lot of room to grow with that. And I think that's one of the big things that you guys do as a program to make that known. And also with Mental Health Awareness Month, how big that is on breaking some of those stigmas. There's a couple of things that you said I really want to pick on there, but one thing that you said 70 years ago, this is the 70th anniversary of it, and that's a huge milestone for Astor to be able to have. And now, being May, Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm sure that there is so much to be able to celebrate. And I think that's terrific. So going into that, what are some of the initiatives that Astor is really promoting right now for Mental Health Awareness Month?
Well, one of the key things that we are doing for May is let me back up just to say, so, in addition to counseling, we want to support our clients in all of their settings, and to be able to help with their lives, we also want to be able to enrich their lives. So after 70 years, we as Astor have started what's called an enrichment fund. And it's basically, a way to help children. It's mostly geared towards children, but it could potentially be across other clients as well. Be able to take lessons, art lessons, dance lessons, music lessons, to go to summer camp. So our enrichment fund has this wonderful thing that we've asked area restaurants to be able to donate some of their proceeds. We have a calendar on our website. If you go to astorservices.org, we have a calendar and it shows which restaurants there are. And on certain days, if you go and eat there, the proceeds will be donated to our enrichment fund. So that's one of the key initiatives that we are doing for Mental Health Awareness Month in May. And then we're extending that past May. In June, there's a vintage market at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds that also, if you go and buy something there, the proceeds go to the enrichment fund.
Wow, that's awesome. Both of those things, really, really great. They span from such great communal ideas for so many great communal programs. I've said this so many times on In Touch, but like music and the arts communicate better than any other language that I'm aware of. It really does bring people together. And, you know, it's just as important as some of the essentials because it's very hard to, you know, to be able to grow by yourself. You need the people around you to be able to do it. And the expression is one of the best ways to do that. Also, when it comes to Dine Out for mental health, come on, it's like food. Food is the quickest way to so many people's hearts. So I think that's going to be one of the great ways of going about it. And we already actually wrote about that on our Townsquare websites, which you can check out. I'll make sure that's linked in the description of this episode. But those are incredible things that you guys are offering right now. That is terrific. Again, you're listening to In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's Public Affairs and Issues program. We are speaking with Jennifer Brody from Astor Services and just talking about the wonderful things that are going on with Mental Health Awareness Month and the different things that are going on. And one of the things that we're emailing back and forth about before getting into this program is this concept of seeds of growth. And I feel like it's just best if I hand it over to you. I want to know more. I want to hear more about it. And I'm sure our In Touch listeners want to hear more about it. Please tell us about Seeds of Growth.
Sure. So this is a metaphor that we've been sort of using and I've been using in teaching and training psychologists and other clinicians because we've just gone through a rebranding because we were focused on children and families for all the years that we were, but now we're expanding out to all the ages. We wanted to change our name to just reflect, you know, Astor Services in general, and then to also have a new logo. And I actually, the other background that I could have had today is a repeated pattern of the flower because I made it myself. But it's basically a flower. So we could like point to any of these. I mean, you can look on our website for it, but it's just it's a flower and it's pretty. It's got different colors to it. And we have a new tagline that is help, heal, hope. And the idea behind the flower is that to help with everyone being able to blossom and grow and flourish and do that under all the circumstances that we're, in this very complex world that we're all navigating. It's getting more and more complex, not less and less. So to be able to plant a seed for any helper, to be able to plant a seed, within a client or a family and watch it grow, sort of the idea of helper as gardener. So you plant the seed and you do all the things you do to help it with watering it and, getting it some sunshine and then being able to bear witness to that growth is a key part of therapy and the helping process. So to be able to be there and watch all that occur is very helpful and wonderful. And we love metaphors at Astor and in the internship. And I'm a very creative therapist and supervisor and supervising psychologist. And so I love metaphors, and being able to spread the creativity that way is wonderful as well.
I love metaphors too. I think they're great. I use them all the time. Sometimes people look at me, I'm a little too cheesy for it, but I don't care. It gets the point across, And I really love the metaphor of seeds of growth and just planting these seeds. As you said, the world is just getting more and more complex. It's not getting any simpler. And I just love the imagery of planting a garden, the gardeners, the helpers, because you can't get more grounded and down to earth than that. And that's one of the biggest things that we need to focus on, I feel, in this age. Finding our way back to earth, getting our feet back down on the ground. And I think that's just like one of the fantastic ways of looking at it. And going along with the complexity of the world that we're in, we mentioned this before, how like 70 years ago when things started with Astor, the way that mental health was just obscene, the way it was considered back then. And, you know, it was started, as you said, so that children wouldn't be institutionalized, which doesn't sound all that great. Now have all these programs that help out and can enrich and nurture and all that, but there are still stigmas and there are still things going on that are blocking people, preventing people, making it hard to have these conversations. Can you dive into some of these stigmas, stuff that you must see on like a daily basis, and what Astor's doing to combat it and what regular people can do to combat it?
You know, one of the most important things is the awareness piece. You know, I love that May is mental health awareness, because I think when you start with awareness, then you can move towards action.
Yes.
You know, you need to be able to know about what is out there in terms of sort of the problem side of the equation, and then you need to know what's out there on the solution side of the equation as well. I think that anybody who walks around with a mind, you know, needs to have mental health. You know, just like we have our bodies, we have physical health. So for me, you know, I sort of grew up enveloped in psychology because both of my parents were in the helping profession, and I married a person who's a psychologist, and both of his parents are also in the helping profession. And so our almost 15-year-old daughter probably has no chance to not do this too, but we love her and she can do whatever she wants. But, you know, mental health is just what it is. And so I've never understood the stigma, honestly, other than, you know, understanding that it's hard to say when you need help. It's hard to say when you might need some extra support, and that helping hand, you know, up from not feeling well or good or the best you could be is difficult. It's not easy, but I've just always been open to this world of mental health because we all have minds. Yeah. We all have minds and we all have bodies. So we need to take care of both.
Absolutely. Definitely need to be able to take care of both. We're so concerned on the outer image that we give and the physical appearance and physical health. And it's easier for some people to grasp that because they can see it. But mental health isn't something to be seen. It's something to be felt and something to live with constantly. And, you know, as a musician, some of my favorite songs are just purely about that idea of living with oneself and trying to navigate life and trying to navigate everything. And as I said, some of my favorite songs kind of really focus on that. And I think it's such an important thing. Now, we've touched on this a little bit already, but you guys aren't just looking at the younger ages as you used to, but you opened it up to larger amounts of age ranges at Astor. I just want to ask about some of the mental health treatments and counseling that you guys are offering for this wider range of ages now. Mm-hmm.
So one of the ways that we've expanded our ages is by having the existing clients that we have, if they have a caregiver, so parent or caregiver that also would like their own therapy, we can now do that.
Oh, wow.
And that now opens up to all ages. I mean, from, you know, up to 100 years old, we can help somebody in their own therapy. So we're already able to do a lot of that. If we have a child or adolescent who's in treatment with us, we can do parent-only conversations and sessions with the caregivers. So we were able to do that before, but we weren't able to have that person have their own counseling. And, you know, have their own therapist and do it that way. So now we can do that. And that's been wonderful. Also, just even with the child sort of section of ages, we used to be just limited to 5 to 18. 21 was sort of we're able to push it up to that. Now we can do 0 to 26.
Oh, that's great.
for a young person. And then if they have started with us, we actually can now continue past. For the ones that have started with us in the past, we now can see them past even 26.
Wow.
Like into their adulthood, and as long as they had started with us. That's all a lot of changes, actually, for our agency.
Absolutely. To be able to offer that and to establish those connections and continue those connections is really important for growth, because, person's journey and mental health journey does not end at a certain age. It goes through the rest of their lives. And to be able to offer that. And I love the focus on, the parents and the caregivers, because the caregivers need care as well. And they need the support in whatever's going on, because I'm sure so much of it is new to them, uncharted territory that needed help with and finding stuff out. So that's great that things are being able to be offered in that way. Again, you're listening to In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's Public Affairs and Issues program. We've been speaking with Jennifer Brody, Director of APA-Accredited Doctoral Psychology Internship with Astor Services, and we've been talking about the wonderful things going on with Mental Health Awareness Month. Jennifer, you've been a terrific guest, and I really appreciate everything that you've been saying to us. What's the best way for people to look into Astor?
Probably the best way is our website, astorservices.org. You can also always call if you wanted, 845-871-1000. And Sonia Barnes-Moorhead, our Executive Vice President of our Children's Foundation of Astor, has said that we could call her directly if you need to do anything and help us heal hope. So her phone number is 845-871-1117. She said for any of our community partners that want to assist with us with helping the enrichment fund I was talking about, that could be wonderful. I wanted to mention that we got a grant for our children who live in Poughkeepsie.
Terrific.
They're going to be doing a equine assistance program by riding horses and learning how to do that. And so we got this wonderful grant. So that's another example of an enrichment opportunity that we did in addition to all the counseling that we do. We're having these opportunities to do those sorts of things as well.
That's lovely. I love hearing stuff like that, just be able to grow and have new experiences. And those are wonderful things, and people can look into that. That would be fantastic. And all the different programs. If you have questions, reach out. Those numbers will also be in the description of this episode if you need. Jennifer, again, thank you so, so much. Is there any last second thing that you want to get in there for our In Touch audience?
I think the one last thing I wanted to say, Connor, is just also the help for helpers piece, that we also want to keep ourselves as, sane and wonderfully mentally healthy, as wonderful as we help people. And so one of the key things that I do to train our clinicians in how to be really creative in their therapy and their therapeutic techniques. So I teach and do play and expressive therapies. And so as much as we do wonderful CBT, the cognitive behavioral therapy, and dialectical behavioral therapy, as those are evidence-based therapies, we also have play therapy, which is also evidence-based. And I try to just make it as fun and wonderful for the clinicians and the helpers as they're helping the clients. And it just makes it sort of feel just more wonderful and healthy and creative and enriching. So that's the other piece that I wanted to just mention too, as we keep ourselves as healthy as possible as well as we do the helping.
I think that's great. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to keep yourself healthy through all of that. So thank you for sharing that with us today. Jennifer,
Sure.
Thank you so, so much for being here on In Touch. We really appreciate it. And for anybody with questions of Astor, please check out the website of the station you're listening on. We have so many links and information there for you guys to check out. Jennifer, thank you again for your time.
Sure. Thank you so much. So glad we got in touch, Connor.
Hey, there we go. This has been this week's edition of In Touch, the Public Affairs and Issues program that runs across Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley radio stations. We want to give a big thank you to Jennifer Brody. For more information on Astor Services, their programs, upcoming events such as their Dine Out for Mental Health Month, and more, visit astorservices.org. Of course, all links and information can be found in the description of this episode. Whether you've been listening for a while or you've just joined us, thank you. You can find In Touch episodes new and old on your favorite streaming services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. That and listen on demand with your Townsquare radio station mobile app. Of course, you can still find all articles and audio under the In Touch tab on this radio station's app and website. And don't forget, we're also on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at InTouch_HV. If you like what we do here on In Touch and want to be on the show, let us know. Whether you have a topic you want discussed or you want to be a guest, the best way to contact us is through our office number, 845-471-1500, or email direct to connor.walsh@townsquaremedia.com. I've been your host, Connor Walsh. Until next time, stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time.